Babes, let me start off by saying that there's going to be some things in this video that you are doing that you are not really going to want to hear, like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. And so I just want to urge you to watch the video all the way to the end, and also know that everything that I'm talking about in this video, I am telling you this from love, and I'm telling you this from not just my experience, but the experience of so many wise women who have learned these lessons later in life. So watch this video with an open heart and know that when you come to the Fancy Girls Guide, I'm going to be honest with you, and I am always going to be speaking from a place of love and care. Hey babes, my name's Diamond and I write a blog called The Fancy Girls Guide, and I empower women to elevate their lives through fashion, lifestyle, and self-care. Today's video is gonna be so good. We are talking about things that I wish I knew in my 20s. Now, this video is going to be like specifically like things I wish I would have gone into my 20s already knowing. So these are things that I learned into my 20s. I'm now 30, so things that I've learned at 30, but a lot of these things, I feel like there's women who don't learn this until 40, 50, 60 years old. And so I wanted to make this video because, I mean, the earlier we know, the better our lives are going to be. So if you like these type of videos, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up this video because it helps a ton. It will send this video out to more women so that they're able to learn these lessons as well. And make sure you turn on that bell so that you can be notified when I upload, because I upload several videos a week. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, babe, so the very first thing that I wish that I had learned in my early 20s is going to be to never have sex with a man that I am not married to. And I know that there's going to be a little bit of like, oh no, like I'm not religious, so that doesn't really affect me. So I'm going to give you the scientific reason, and like the way that your body works is the same as every other woman. And so I want you to truly understand, not just from a faith base, not just from a religious perspective, which is also important because I am a Christian. But if you're not a Christian, this still is going to impact you the very same way. Every single time you have sex with a man, your brain releases oxytocin. So oxytocin is a bonding hormone. So this is the same hormone that our bodies release during childbirth. It's the same hormone that, you know, our bodies release in order to bond and create community within friendships, different things like that. So every single time you have sex with a man, your brain releases this hormone. And so if you're having sex with a man that is not your husband, you are literally chemically bonding yourself to this man. And so if you break up, if it doesn't work out, now you are going to feel the withdrawals from not having that hormone and having that attachment to this person who has truly not committed themselves to you. A woman commits herself to a man through her body. Like, there is no other way to say it. And so if a man has not committed himself to you truly, now you might say, oh, well, I'll have sex with him and then eventually, you know, he'll commit. That's not the way that a man's brain works. Men can have sex with you repeatedly and their brains do not release oxytocin. Their brains only release oxytocin when they already are in love with you. Now, how many times have we seen friends, it maybe has been you, where you are dating a guy, oh, we've been talking, we've been, you know, dating for this amount of time, okay, I'm gonna have sex with him. Now you are casually and regularly having sex with him, and the relationship is not progressing. He's not becoming more in love with you and more infatuated with you. And if anything, it's almost as if his effort goes down. And it's because he has not truly committed himself to you. And so much, I feel like there's just so many women, like I'm in so many different groups, and like I hear women talk about this all the time where they are so in love with a man where they're like, I want to have babies with him. I want a whole family with him. You know, we're not really together. It's kind of a situationship, but we've been sleeping together for the last 10 months, and eventually he's going to come around, just to realize that he's actually never going to come around. And now you are left with a broken heart. Now, if you don't know, if you think that, like, maybe if you don't know anybody who this has happened to, I'm going to give you two examples because I feel like if you're watching this channel, you're probably into these shows as well. So let's look at Sex in the City and let's look at the show Girlfriends. So if you look at Sex in the City, Samantha was the friend that was like very casually, oh, I have sex like men. Oh, I don't care. I'm unattached. And it was because that she generally was only having sex with men like one time. So her body was releasing oxytocin, but it wasn't repeatedly with the same man to bond her to that man. Now, if you ever remember the episode where she talks about the guy Dominic that she dated, that she was so in love with, he ended up leaving her and getting with some other woman, marrying her. So he comes back into her life and she has sex with him again. And she's thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be so casual about this. I'm going to do him the way that he did me, just to end up rekindling those same feelings. And then he left her again. And she was like heartbroken and embarrassed. And it was like so terrible, right? And it's because society has conditioned us to think that we can behave like men. And we cannot behave like men because we are not wired the same way. We are chemically different. We are biologically different. And you have to accept the fact that you cannot do what men do. Like, that's just it. The same is an example from Girlfriends. Lynn was like the free spirit. Oh, I just like to have sex, whatever. She started having sex with William, and then all of a sudden you're starting to feel like, oh my God, he was thinking about some other woman while I was having sex with him. And it's like, well, if you truly are this person that like is, oh, I'm such a free spirit, I don't really care. Why do you care? It's because regardless of what you think your viewpoints are, oh, I'm a free spirit, oh, I'm a hippie, oh, I'm very casual about sex, like I'm not super invested. You might think that and you might feel that way, but your body chemically is going to respond the very same way that a woman who desires love and commitment will. And so you have to make decisions based off of factual like evidence and not just this idea of your personality type. So I hope that that really helps. I know that this is like a topic that people are kind of like, oh, I can do whatever I want. And you can do whatever you want for sure. But I'm telling you that there are so many women who have gone down this route and it almost always ends the same way. Not to say that you can't have sex with somebody and then eventually get married, but as a woman who desires security, I just cannot put myself in a place where I'm really risking my peace of mind and my emotional well-being in the hopes that this man may love me enough to eventually commit after I've already committed to him and I've already given myself to him. So I hope that that helps. And let's go ahead and get into the second thing. The second thing I wish I had known in my early 20s is that the tighter your clothes are, the cheaper you look. Now, I know that this is going to be like, I want to be young and sexy and hot and, but if you look at like, I'm going to give you an example. Look at Fashion Nova and the models and the clothes and the way that they present. It gives cheap. Like the clothes are cute. The models are cute, but it rings cheap and like easy and just like easily accessible versus if you look at like runway models, very rarely are the clothes clinging so tight to the body that you could literally see their cellulite through their clothes. Because when things are more expensive, when things are more quality, they're going to be more tailored. They're just going to lay properly on the body. And I just remember being 21 and thinking like, oh my God, I'm grown. I could do whatever I want. I could dress however I want. And when I look back at some of the pictures, I'm just like, wow, like I look so cheap. Like I always want to give the high quality, high value, and I don't mean high value like Kevin Samuels high value. It's like my name is Diamond and it literally means of high value. And so by nature, I just don't desire to give like cheap and sleazy and you can peel my clothes right off of me in the club. Like, ew. I could just tell just the way that people treat me is totally different because the way that I present myself is totally different. So the next thing that I wish that I had known in my early 20s is that you are not a good woman just because you think that you are a good woman or just because you say that you are a good woman. A good woman has certain characteristics, she has certain habits, and she behaves in a certain way, and that is what makes her good. And just because you think that the things that you do and the little toxic habits that you have are okay, I mean, they could be okay for your life if that's just how you want to live, but you're also not a good woman just because you walk around saying like, "Oh, I'm such a good woman." And I'll give you the perfect example. So in my early 20s, I thought like, "Oh yeah, I'm such a good woman. Like any man should be, happy to have me or whatever, right?" Which I mean, they should. But I would say that I thought that I was a good woman because I used to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm so supportive, I'm so encouraging." And I was in fact supportive. Like I would go so hard for people. I would help people in any way that I can. But I was doing that um more so as a distraction from the things that I should have really been doing. And I was using this like, "Oh, I'm a good woman. I support other people. I'm so encouraging. I help people with their goals." But I was neglecting my own priorities. And a good woman understands her priorities and she lives her life in a certain order. A good woman is not going to be prioritizing other people. And I'm not talking about prioritizing your husband or your children's needs or in certain instances prioritizing other people. I'm talking about a consistent behavior where you are neglecting your own responsibilities under the rules of I'm so supportive, I'm encouraging, I'm helping these other people. You have to be in order, and the proper order is God, then you. Like it is not God, these my friends who have their problems, and I'm gonna just neglect the things that I have going on that I really should be working on to say, "Oh yeah, I'm such a good woman, I'm such a good friend." Like you're not a good friend and you're not a good woman because the goodness would be you setting the example for how you should behave and how to behave with proper order and proper healthy habits. So that was a major, major, major lesson. Okay, what are we on, number 4? Number 4, things that I wish I'd known in my early 20s. It's going to be you will always attract the equivalent to who you are on the inside. So this is going to be like, ooh, I know this is like a hard pill to swallow. If you attract narcissistic men, it's because you're insecure on the inside. And I'm not blaming you because anybody can be insecure and anybody I have personally been insecure. And when you are insecure, you're looking for that outward validation, and a narcissist is looking to use their ability to validate you, to draw you in, and to get you to think that you need them so that they can then treat you however they want to treat you and to meet whatever their needs are. And the insecurity in you is going to draw you to that. And so whatever issues you have going on the inside, that is going to be reflected on whatever is happening in your life on the outside. And I think that so often I see like women will be going through the same thing over and over and over again with different men. And it's like, why do I keep attracting these men? Like, this just must be how all men are. And you'll start to tell yourself things in order to make you not be the person that's in the wrong and make it like, "Oh no, it's them," which it is them. I'm not validating or condoning their behavior. But what I'm saying is that if you are secure in yourself, when a person comes into your life and is offering you less than what you deserve, or their behavior is like sketchy, you won't overlook those things because you will be so self regulated, and you will be so self aware to recognize that this behavior is unhealthy. And you won't even get far enough down the line with them for this to even um end up being like a big thing in your life. It's like you're gonna repel that energy like so fast. So whatever you are on the inside, however you feel on the inside, is what you're gonna attract on the outside. This next one is actually kind of gonna go along a little bit with the last one. So self love is not superficial. It is a commitment to your inner growth. So, a lot of times when we talk about like self love habits and self care habits, it's all like superficial things. It's like, oh, you got to have this skincare and you got to go and get a massage every month and you have to be an Instagram baddie and you have to, date men that have money and you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's like, well, do you really love yourself if you are not committed to growing, if you're not committed to learning, if you're not committed to doing the work to overcome your childhood trauma, or if you're not committed to healing from that relationship? Like, you are not truly loving yourself if you get out of one bad relationship and you're so like, oh my God, I don't want to be alone. So you just jump right into the next relationship, or you spin the block and you go back to the relationship that you were in before. If you constantly are distracting yourself with outside things from being alone with yourself and doing that inner work, then I'm not going to say you don't love yourself at all, but you have not really truly reached the heights of self-love that are really available to you. And that is something that, I mean, when I say I spent so much time like running away from myself, and no matter how far you run, it's right there. Your shadow is right there. It's not going anywhere. And I would say that in the last year, my self-love has truly like, I mean, it's on another level. It is on another level. Like, there are things when I look back, I'm like, wow, I really allowed this in my life. And I don't mean necessarily even relationship stuff or like things with men. I mean, like my own habits. Like, I really allowed myself to get to the point where I needed 5 cups of coffee to get through my day, where I, was not drinking enough water. It's like literally like I was self-sabotaging. Like, I was afraid to go after certain opportunities, even when opportunities were like presented to me, or even the way that I would like speak to myself on the inside, like the things that I would say to myself when I would look in the mirror. It would be like, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, instant criticism. And it's like, well, if you truly love yourself, why are you criticizing yourself? Because the people that I love in my life, I don't criticize them. I don't criticize my sister. I don't criticize my daughter. I don't criticize really anybody really anybody at all. Because I love everybody. Like, the love of God is in me, and like God does not discriminate. I love all people. But it was like, okay, well, you love all people and you talk about self-love and you talk about self-care, but when you're looking in the mirror, girl, you would not say these things that you're saying to yourself to the people that you care about. And so I really had to be honest with myself and say, like, whoa, okay, we need to do some work on the self-love. We really need to put the effort into figuring out like and letting go of certain things and like really truly digging deep and doing that inner work. So that was something that is like super major, and I just wish I had known that in my early 20s, because it would have just made life so much easier, and I would have um just not had that fear and that doubt in me that limited so many of my decisions. Okay, babes, the next one, I think we're either on 6 or 7. I can't I can't really remember. But the next thing that I wish that I had known in my early 20s is that you cannot build wealth if you are intimidated by handling your finances. You may be able to build a lifestyle, but the lifestyle is likely to crumble. Now, let me just say, I've never like lost like an extreme amount of money, but I have like I've just always kind of been like intimidated by the idea of having to handle like a large amount of finances. Or look, I just remember growing up being a kid, and like my mom would just be like so stressed out, it seemed like, or like my parents would just be like, trying to figure out things. And I just was always like, oh my God, like finances, money, it must be stressful. It must be so hard to handle. Like, it must be so hard to figure out how to take care of this and take care of that. And so that was kind of instilled in me. And in my early 20s, I literally went through this phase where I was like, okay, I'm just going to be a hippie. Like, I don't even care. My bed is going to sit on the floor. I got a bookshelf. Like, I don't need these things or whatever, which is like, that's not even my personality. I was probably the most glamorous hippie you ever seen, because it was like, you're not really a hippie for real. You're just afraid to really learn and understand finances, and you just think that it's like, well, if I just don't know it, then maybe it's just not for me. It's like, oh, I'm just not good at this. And it's like, no, you just haven't learned enough about it, and you have to be willing to learn about finances. You have to understand investments. And this is something that I'm still learning. And I recognize, you see these people have these incredible lifestyles, and it's like, oh, I want to do this. I want to like jet set. I want to go to the private island. I want to go here. I want to go there. I want to do all of these things. But it's like, yeah, but you could take all your money, do that stuff, but eventually you're going to either rack up a bunch of debt and then be like basically in chains. You know what I mean? Like, debt is like, if you have a huge amount of debt with no way to pay it back for a bunch of things, it's like, yeah, I bought all these clothes, I bought all this stuff, and it's like, now your credit is terrible. Now that's going to limit the things that you could truly do in your life, and it's all because you were too afraid to truly understand your finances. And I just think that it's so important for young women, in particular, and just women in general, to understand your finances. Stop being afraid. Like, even if you're the type of person that's like, yeah, I just save all of my money and like I don't buy anything. And it's like, okay, you're saving all your money and you got all your money in a bank account, but inflation is going up. So now you're losing money. And if you weren't so afraid, you would be able to figure out, okay, what is the best way for me to invest? Should I invest in properties? Should I invest in stock? What should I be doing with my 401k? And just all of these things that will set your life up to be much easier and much softer and much more fulfilling. But you have to let go of that fear. There's so many like financial like platforms, like different podcasts and different YouTubes and different Instagrams. It's like, there's so much information now about like finances and how to be financially stable, and different like systems or platforms that people have. And you just need to find what fits your personality type. Like, if you're the type of person that's like, okay, I just want to live debt free and just live like, you know, by certain means, there's people who are going to do that. If you are more of a risk taker and you're like, I just want to go out and I want to, invest and I want to make money, there's people that can teach you how to do that. If you're a person that's like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to like really go into this field and I want to build businesses. Well, you're not going to be able to build businesses if you're literally afraid of like looking at the number. If you are swiping your card and you're like, oh my God, oh, I don't even want to look at my account. Why are you afraid to look at your account? The money is either going to be there or it's not going to be there. And it's better for you to know what's in there. Like, that's literally, I spent my 20s just like, I'm just going to spend it. It'll come back, which the money always did come back or whatever. But there's just so many things that, like, financial decisions that I would not have made. And I'll give you an example. Again, I'm 30 years old. I come from a time when I first started getting my nails done, like going to the shop at 17, a full set was $40. You get two designs on, two design on this hand, two designs on this hand, and $40. Then I got to a point as time progressed where I was literally spending like $125 on a set of nails for my hand. That does not include my pedicure. Then I was going to get my nails done by one girl and then going to a different place to get my toes done. This took up so much of my time and so much of my money, when the reality is that I should have gone to Walmart and Target and got some press-on nails and paid $7.99. I'm telling you, my nails at $7.99 look just as good, if not better, than they did when I was paying $125. And had I even known and realized, like, wow, this is not a good way for me to be spending my money, I would have more money in savings. I would have been able to use that money. Even if I didn't save it, I could have used that money to invest more into myself. Like, I could have taken, different courses. I could have, paid off different debts faster and things like that. And when I turned 30, I committed myself to like being debt free by the time that I turned 30, which I was able to do. Like, I paid off all of my debt, except my student loans, but I'm gonna let Joe worry about that. And and that was something that was a huge accomplishment for me. And my 30s are all about being financially independent, and smart. Because I mean, I've been taking care of myself for a long time, but the level in which that I desire to take care of myself is much higher than my financial habits have been previously. And so it's about adjusting those habits so that I could truly be the woman that I want to be. Because it's truly godly to care for your finances and the things that God has blessed you with. And so that's something that I've recently just been learning. Like, I didn't even realize, other than like paying my tithes, that the way that I spend my money, I didn't know that God even cared about this. And so that's something I've been recently learning and looking more into. Okay, babes, that is going to be it for the things that I wish I had known in my early 20s. I hope that this video truly helps you and that you were able to take something out of the video. And if you did, make sure that you share this video with a friend. Give this video a thumbs up, because that would help me a ton. It really shows YouTube that you like this type of content, and it pushes it out to more women. So thank you so much for watching to the end. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out a couple other of my videos. I mean, you might as well grab you a little drink or little sip of some little snack and then just binge watch everything. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you babes in the next one. Bye.